I opened a new channel in order to see if I could re-upload a video, and and immediately the video was removed. And the video was about the policies of YouTube. I'm not actually allowed to discuss, I'm not even allowed to mention the policies of YouTube, because mentioning the policies of YouTube is a violation of YouTube's policies, which is kind of ridiculous. You're not actually allowed to discuss the merits or demerits of policies. And the public are so stupid, they don't seem to understand what's going on. We are not allowed, it's not just whether the policies are right. We're actually not allowed to discuss what the policies are. We're not allowed to discuss it. And if you do, that in itself would result in the removal of your analysis. And let's not forget that I upload as a private individual, and that it's a given that YouTube and Google are not, or Alphabet as they call themselves now, I think, they are not responsible for my opinion, and they do not endorse it. They don't have to endorse it because it's not their opinion, it's my opinion. And the people who come to my channel could either listen to what I have to say, or disagree with what I have to say, or ignore what I have to say. There's no real need for any policies at all on this issue, but I'm not even allowed to mention what issue it is, because that in itself would correspond to a strike. So in fact, if YouTube were consistent, they would actually remove the policies that I'm not allowed to discuss, because having those policies is a violation of their own policies, because you're not allowed to discuss the policies, you're not allowed to mention the policies, right? I think policies, all policies need to be examined, and all policies need to be revised based upon their validity. It may be that the policies that are currently being pursued are unfair and unjust and illogical, and it may be that I could show that if I was given a chance. But we live in a stage of human existence where you're not even allowed to discuss what the policies are, and you are simply expected to accept them. You've got to accept the policies. You can't debate the policies. You can't discuss the policies. I just want to discuss the policies that I'm not allowed to talk about. Why can't we have a debate on what the policies are, why the policies are in place, and who stands to benefit from the policies? Let us suppose that there was for the sake of example, a soft drink that I believed, looking at the ingredients, was harmful to your health. What would happen if YouTube had a policy that you were not allowed to question the safety of this particular soft drink, and that this soft drink had been accepted as good for you, and that you were not allowed to criticize this soft drink at all? I mean, we would think that was ludicrous, because if you look on YouTube or any social media, you'll find a wide range of opinions about what things that we can eat, what things are healthy, what things are unhealthy. For example, YouTube permit people to promote the idea that that eating red meat is bad for you. I mean, I don't agree with that theory. I think it's quite untrue, but there's no problem with promoting that theory. And that there's also people who recommend all kinds of diets, many of which are totally contradictory. Some people recommend this and some people recommend that. But they're all allowed to recommend whatever they like. I mean, you could have a video saying that you recommend, you know, an exclusively chocolate diet or something. And I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be removed. I mean, it would be a silly video, but there wouldn't be any need to remove it, even if it was not true. It may be harmful to the health. There are adverts for cigarettes and adverts for alcohol and adverts for all kinds of products that cannot be healthy, right? Cannot be healthy. But again, we're expected to use common sense and only use these products in moderation, right? Having a cake isn't going to kill you, but if you had 100 cakes every day for the rest of your life, it probably would. So it's always the case of caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. All social media is a platform for different people to present different positions. There shouldn't be any restrictions on what people are allowed to say. As a hypothetical, right? I mean, let's say some people, for example, there's no rule that states you can't suggest that the Earth shape may be different to what we're commonly told. That is allowed. The algorithms have been tweaked so that those sensible discussions are far down the list, very hard to find actually, because YouTube can easily hide things they don't like. But the point is, you're still allowed to discuss it. In Britain, for example, we are allowed to discuss historical events that are not allowed to be discussed in other countries, because the country has written their history and the history cannot be debated. Thankfully, in the UK, we don't have that particular restriction, but we do have a restriction made by California-based Google that operates around the world to state that I, living in Britain, am not allowed to discuss something. And we've had this experience as well in Britain, because one principal politician has been raising concerns about the overall effectiveness of a particular procedure. And as a result of this particular politician has been expelled from the party, his party, because they cannot accept that anyone is allowed to question anything. I mean, what kind of society are we where adults cannot discuss issues? There is an issue and it needs to be discussed, so there should not be any reason to suppress the discussion of this issue, because we are constantly told that all the data and all the evidence shows such and such. And yet if anybody tries to present evidence or suggest otherwise, they are cancelled, right? Now that, in my view, is very, very suspicious, because there's a saying, I don't know who said it first, truth should not fear investigation, right? If you're a waiter and you present a couple with a bill for their food, and if you've got the bill is correct, the items are correct, the people had the items they ordered, and the prices are as in the menu, and the service charge is as expected, there would not be any reason for the waiter to be upset if the customers decided to check their bill. In fact, we're always suggested that you do check your bill and that you do read your bank statement and simply don't assume that it's correct. And yet for some odd reason, when it comes to these particular matters that I'm not allowed even to talk about, suddenly we are all expected to simply accept everything we're told. We're not allowed to debate anything we're told. We're not allowed to analyze, because when it comes to things like data can and is subject to evaluation and interpretation, right? If we say that half the population are male and half the population are female, that would not mean that everybody is transgender. It just means, well, it depends on the context, I suppose. I mean, Bill Gates has a book called How to Lie with Statistics. which he recommended as a book that he thought was interesting. Quite interesting choice of book, I would say. How to Lie with Statistics. But a lot of people would brush it aside and say it was not of importance. So the bottom line is this. YouTube will not allow me to discuss YouTube policies. Why not? Why can't I? Why can't I look at YouTube policies? Because policies get revised, policies get changed. We keep getting notified, oh yeah, we've changed your policies, please go to this link to see a list. So policies do get changed. Well, how do they get changed? Well, because somebody decides that the policies need changing. Now, if we have a situation where we, as users of this service, are not allowed to question or suggest changes to the policies, how does that work? I'm a user. I'm a content creator. I'm unmonetized. I should be monetized. I should be getting a lot of money for the work I do. I get nothing. All I get is grief and censorship. Even when you provide content free of charge and you don't ask for any PayPal, you don't ask for any coffee or anything like that, even then you're not allowed to say what you want. I mean, couldn't they put a warning? Warning, this guy's opinions are not, we don't agree with them. I mean, they don't even, sometimes they put like fact checkers below you to try and discredit everything you've said, you know. But that's not enough for them. They won't even let you see. Now, the question is this. It's a simple question. How do you know a person's lying unless you hear what they have to say? How do you know a person's mistaken? I might be mistaken. I mean, I'm not, but I might be. But if people are people no longer allowed to be mistaken, and if we can't even hear what people are saying, how do we know they're mistaken? YouTube are telling you, they don't even tell you what the video is. For example, if you went to a video that's been removed by YouTube, it doesn't say this was a video about such and such. Here's the name of the video. We removed this particular video. It just says this video is no longer available, or this video was removed because it broke the community guidelines or the terms of service. So you're not even able to see the general theme of the video. At the moment, I'm guessing millions of hundreds of thousands of videos on certain topics are being removed by YouTube and other media such as Facebook and Instagram and so on, and Twitter. And Twitter hasn't improved, by the way. The hidden censorship remains very, very strong. I mean, Musk is a fraud. I mean, that's for sure. But that's just my opinion. I mean, should I not be allowed to say that if I think it's true? Lots of people disagree with me. But surely some people should be allowed to say Musk is a fraud. Even on Twitter. But what happens is they ghost ban accounts now, so that when you say something on Twitter, you don't get, people who follow you don't get notified. You can see your own comment, but no one else gets to see it. Does that seem fair to you? I don't think that's fair, because people who follow me presumably want to hear what I have to say. Why should Twitter decide that they can't? That's what's happening. It's like the postman deciding he doesn't want to deliver your mail. Would that be okay? Would that be okay with you? Look, all Google is paper. It's paper which people can publish their own work. Some people do music, some people do sport. Some people want to discuss what's going on in this world. Shouldn't they be allowed to do so? Do paper manufacturers demand that their paper can only be used and will destroy any paper you've written on that they don't like the content of that paper? No, it's just paper, and people can write on it as they please. And so we should have the same right with Google, but we don't. We don't have that right. This is a fundamental human right. The right to freedom of speech and the right to question authority must be a protected right. It's the most valuable thing of all. And at the moment, we're not even allowed to question policies. We're not even allowed to question them, what they are or why they're needed. Shame on you, Google. Shame on you.